Hello, Brobs. I'm back with more new book, new book arrivals, bruv. Number 200 and I'm gonna say 258. These books are not included. Um, yeah, I don't have many books from my most recent accumulations, but six of them came from a library book sale, and then the rest came from Bookstock, which is a large sale in Livonia, Michigan. Samuel, Samuel. I'm drinking a beer, so don't mind my slurring of words. It doesn't take much. Although this beer is 10.4%, I only drank one, but that's enough to make me drunk. I'm a lightweight. Anyway, Samuel. I can't say it. Samuel Butler, The Way of All Flesh. A thinly disguised account of Samuel Butler's own childhood and youth. The Way of All Flesh is a savagely funny indictment of 19th century English values and beliefs. What does this fucker have a sticker? You $6. This thing is brand new condition. I got it for what, 33 cents? It was 3 for $1 for paperbacks and 3 for $2 for hardcover at the one place. Hey, it's gonna come off easily. Nice. And there's no residue either. Penguin literature. It chronicles several generations of the Pontifex family, especially Ernest, the awkward but likable son of a remote and tyrannical clergyman father and a priggish mother. Destined to follow his father into the church, Ernest's career as a curate, is it a curate or is it karate, in London ends in disaster and a gleeful rejection of his parents' respectability and sense of duty. With great irony, humor, and honesty, Butler's novel explodes perceptions of the Victorian family in a wonderfully refreshing depiction of a young man who casts off his background in order to find his own way in the world. Exciting. Not half as exciting as Young Werther, which I'm going to start reading on May 4th, since it begins on that date in the journal form of that novel. Nonsense Songs by Edward Lear. Another 66-cent book I bought. Obviously, a library book from the Wayne Nankin Library. Nankin is now a defunct township, so that's nice to have that. Obviously, Lear Nonsense Songs are exactly that. Can't say I've ever read them, but I heard of them in an XTC song. What's it called? Then She Appeared, where he says all Edward Leared. That's a nod to this writer, Wayne Nankin Library. How pleasant to know Mr. Lear, who has written such volumes of stuff. Some think him ill-tempered and queer, but a few think him pleasant enough. His mind is concrete and fastidious. His nose is remarkably big. His visage is more or less hideous. His beard, it resembles a wig. All right, let's get to an actual song, The Jumblies. Hi. Hello, Hank. How are you, buddy? Like and subscribe and donate and donate $1 million to me, please. They went to the sea in a sieve. They did. In a sieve they went to sea. In spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy... Shouldn't have ate that fucking kind bar. It's choking me up. On a winter's morn, on a stormy day, in a sieve they went to sea. And when the sieve turned round and everyone cried, "You'll all be drowned," they cried aloud, our sieve ain't big, but we don't care a button. We don't care a fig. In a sieve we'll go to sea. That's great. What is this book? This book is Nonsense Song by Edward Lear, illustrated by Leslie Brooke. I thought Lear was 18th century or 19th century, but I'm not positive actually. I shouldn't have ate that kind bar. It's choking me to death. Look at this fucking guy. Is that his actual body, or is that a fucking onesie? But before he set out he wrapped his nose in a piece of scarlet flannel. For his aunt Jobishka said, no harm can come to his toes if his nose is warm. And it's perfectly known that a pobble's toes are safe, provided he minds his nose. Look at this motherfucker. The table and the chair. Said the table to the chair, you can hardly be aware how I suffer from the heat and from chilblains on my feet. If we took a little walk, we might have a little talk. Pray, let us take the air, said the table to the chair. This is beyond nonsense songs. This is fucking bullshit songs. Mr. and Mrs. Spicky Sparrow. On a little piece of wood, Mr. Spicky Sparrow stood. Mrs. Sparrow sate close by, a making of an insect pie for her little children 5 in the nest and all alive, singing with a cheerful smile to amuse them all the while. Twicky, wicky, wicky, wee, wicky, bicky, twicky, tee, spicky, bicky, bee. All right, this is absolute fucking rubbish. Agatha Christie, A Mysterious Life. I don't know how I read about it, but at some point in Agatha Christie's life, she disappeared. I think it was for like 2 weeks and no one knew where she went. And I believe that it was something to do with her husband cheating on her. And she just disappeared for like a fortnight and nobody knew where she was. But then she just came back and went on with life as if nothing had happened. And I believe there was like a manhunt, a search for her. People thought she was abducted and killed or something like that. Or maybe I'm making this all up. But I probably should read this book at some point. Like, what's her name? Lillian Jackson Braun, whose books were published, it seemed like it while she was in her hundreds. I think the same thing is kind of said about Agatha Christie, that it was almost not a real person, but it has been 100 years since Agatha Christie wrote her first novel and created the formidable Hercule Poirot. A brilliant and award-winning biographer, Laura Thompson, now turns her sharp eye to Agatha Christie, arguably the greatest crime writer in the world. I thought Arthur Conan Doyle was. Christie's books still sell over 4 million copies each year, more than 30 years after her death, and it shows no signs of slowing. But who was the woman behind these mystifying yet eternally pleasing puzzlers? Thompson reveals the Edwardian world in which Christie grew up, explores her relationships, including those with her 2 husbands and daughter, and investigates the many mysteries still surrounding Christie's life, most notably her 11-day disappearance in 1926. That's what I was referring to. Very strange. Agatha Christie is as mysterious as the stories she penned, and writing about her as a detection job in itself, with unprecedented access to all of Christie's letters, papers, and notebooks, as well as fresh and insightful interviews with her relatives. Thompson is able to unravel not only the detailed workings of Christie's detective fiction, but the truth behind this mysterious woman. I do want to know where the hell she was for 11 days. Bet you somebody's done a detailed video on YouTube about it. The Oswald File. Startling new evidence and undeniable conclusions on the man sent to kill Kennedy. Obviously, this looks like it was written in the 70s, so anything in it, 77 would be obviously old news by now. 50 years later? Saturday, 23rd November 1963. Films that had been taken on the third floor on the evening of 22 November show that Ruby was near the homicide office just before midnight, when it was announced that the assassin would be shown to the press in the detail room. When the assassin was brought down to the room for the midnight show-up, another film shows Ruby, pencil and notepad in hand, standing on a table at the back of the room with other reporters. After a brief appearance, the assassin was taken away, but Ruby remained in the room to hear Wade answer questions from the press. Obviously, Jack Ruby was a hitman sent by some cabal to kill Oswald after he questionably had a minor part in the Kennedy assassination. Probably no part, but he was definitely the fall guy. In Montparnasse. How do you say this? Montparnasse. Montparnasse. The emergence of surrealism in Paris, from Duchamp to Dali. First edition. Wow. The book's worth about $4, so being that it's a first edition means nothing. How do you say Montparnasse? Begins on the eve of the First World War and ends with the 1936 unveiling of Salvador Dali's Lobster Telephone. As those extraordinary years unfolded, the surrealists found ever more innovative ways of exploring the interior life and asked new questions about how to define art. In Montparnasse recounts how this artistic revolution came to be amid the salons and cafes of that vibrant neighborhood. Sue Rowe is both an incisive art critic. She's right. Marshall Bliss. Pardon, the story of the military bookman. Take it this is him, since everyone else is a woman or this dude and kids. Margaretta Barton Colt. In the seedy New York of 1976, Harris Colt, a Wall Street refugee, invented and with his wife Margaretta ran a specialty antiquarian bookstore. The Military Bookman, the store in a brownstone in New York's Carnegie Hall, was a confluence of old and rare military, naval, and aviation history books with the rare characters near and far who wanted them. Those who love New York, I'm not one of them, books and bookstores will savor this light-hearted memoir of a fantasy turned reality, a unique enterprise that flourished in the late 20th century. It was like Cheers without the booze. I found a haven of peace, of quality books, of knowledge, and good people. The shop had a wonderful, comprehensive stock, the best I knew of in Britain or America, backed up by a card index with details of seemingly every military book ever published. It was Harris's pride and joy, his secret weapon. Oh, can I get a hi? Oh, hello, buddy. Hey, where are you from? I'm from your mama's. I won't say it. I am from Detroit, Michigan. Although I never lived in the city proper. If I had, I probably would not be alive, but she's on strike. Harris at a German bunker, Utah Beach, Normandy. Looks like the book's got some water damage. Don't look like it. It definitely does. Focus, bastard. Show these peeps the water damage. It's not gonna do it. All right. So that's that. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. These last three books I bought at Bookstock, which is a large book sale that charges, I think, $4 per hardcover and trade paperback, which is why I only bought 3 books this last time. This is an early edition of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which makes it worth maybe $20. The fact that it has no number line, though, makes me think that it's probably a book club edition, so it's worth less. But yeah, it's a classic to some people, and to me it's just rubbish, but since I collect books, I bought it because it's probably worth $20, like I said. Paid for, and then there's that big gaping chasm, and probably takes down the value to about $10, but whatever. I mean, that's not a good look. If you're collecting a book, you don't want to see something that looks like a vagina on the spine. But that is what it is. Tis what it is. This is a very collectible book in itself, just because it's Malachi Martin's Vatican, which I think is his most sought-after novel. I don't really know what the storyline is. I assume since he was somewhat of a conspiracy writer, that it was conspiracy within the Vatican, since he was also, I think, a cardinal or something like that. But what gives it more value is the fact that it's an advanced reading copy. So I don't know how many advanced reading copies each book company makes for a book, but it makes it more rare than it already is. And like I said, it's probably a $40-$50 book in itself, but I'll probably try to sell it for $100 just because it has this on the back, and that means it was not the final product, but a draft copy. And I think advanced reading copies are like semi-final draft, but I'm not positive. But I will try to sell it for about $100 just because it's in pretty good shape, other than this fucking Garflingus on the side. Whatever that is. Why is this not? Are you not gonna fucking zoom in? Kind of zooming in. And lastly, Harold Norse, in the hub of the Fiery Force, collected poems. Probably a $10 to $15 book, and it's not exactly a good investment for $4 book, but at the sale you have to spend minimum of 10, and since there's only 2 of those, I had to put another $2 to $4 in to get it. So I did. I believe that Bukowski was friends with this guy, so that's one of the few recommendations for it. Over the many years of my life, I have had friends, both poets and non-poets, who have offered assistance such as typing out manuscripts and blah, 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 blah. See if he mentions Bukowski in there. Burroughs, yeah, he mentions Bukowski. William S. Burroughs. Bela Bauer, Marlon Brando, Mark Chagall. Wait, he was friends with Mark Chagall. There's Neely Tchaikovsky, who was a Bukowski biographer. Who else can we name drop? Anne Nin. Dylan Thomas. How old was this dude? Auden, Baldwin, Linda and Charles Bukowski, Burroughs, Beck, Judith, Melina Beck, Barry Benjamin, Ira Cohen, Leonard Cohen, Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Let's read one of his poems. Night Piece. The sea and the wind and the rain are battering my house, tearing at the cliff's foot. The bad ocean dumps its tonnage ashore, breaks on rock, all its mean force. Inside the house, in the center of the storm, a lone mind far out, a single conscience adrift. I lie awake recording the tremendous monotone. Well, that's fucking poignant. Hotel Nirvana. The Statue of Liberty is a tourist in the Alps. I wait in the long corridors of public suffering. In the San Francisco General Hospital, where the black man with a badly cut hand sits rather jauntily holding it over a plastic basin that slowly fills with blood, and he smokes and looks around with macho unconcern. I am not so heroic. I wince at his hand at the squirming, groaning emergency cases wheeled in on metal tables while the interns laugh and joke, and the bored attendants go about their business with indifferent faces, thinking of dinner or dates or movies. I sit, clenching my teeth, in horror and helpless defiance, raging silently. A man with chalky pallor clutches his groin on the stretcher, choking and gasping with pain. One is led from a ward with tubes in his nose, a bottle feeding him hope and his chin moving rapidly in prayer under a metal plate. A black whore gets her bloodied eye patched up, and a biker with broken head sits in glum, smothered violence, wrapped in leather and hate. A wino bleeds and laughs and coughs. The wards are full of animal mucus, the slime of our lives. I wait to be put together again. That's awful. Yo, that's you? You're a tough motherfucker, David. Gay party. Yeah, I'm not gonna read that one. Oh, got heartburn from that fucking Kind bar and that beer. Underground Love. Old man mutters under dogwood as three straight suited exec types cross the street looking brainwashed, i.e., stiff, prejudiced, unloving. Their money uniform looks wooden. Cars flow by to freeways. Oakland Hills like Faisal. Tuscan panorama from downtown San Francisco. I've left part of me in Tuscany. Part of me in Sicily, pieces left in Rome, Paris, Tangier, Athens, New York, with boys in the international underground of love. That's awful. It's not very good. I will sell this book for Gerald Balanga, someone very familiar, though we've never met, fumbles about with his tool shed while I crouch beside him. I request machine oil for my squeaky bicycle. He hands me the oil can. I notice the black velvet pants with the flower design. Our pants are identical. I reach up to tell him with my hand that caresses the soft material under which the hard teenage thigh. Jesus Christ. All right, I've read enough. That's awful. I mean, as poetry. Never mind the subject matter. Awful. That's all.